On May 13th, the hard-fought North African campaign was won by the Allies. Despite the fact that German General Erwin Rommel was one of the best who ever lived, Nazi high command had decided they couldn't sustain a battlefront in Africa and decided to withdraw troops back to Europe for a desperate defense of the motherland. The Allies were now knocking at the door, and strategists faced two options on what they should do with their new foothold and forces in North Africa. They faced a choice of either moving their troops north and buffing up the planned Normandy invasions, or they opened a second front in Italy, hoping to slowly but surely squeeze the Germans into their ultimate defeat. As history tells, the Allies chose the second option, with this option almost proving disastrous for the invading force. First things first, I don't think the Italian campaign gets much recognition at all. Although Normandy, rightfully so, was the main event, the Italian theatre of war was just as important, and correspondingly so, the Germans sent a huge force under Erwin Rommel and Albert Kesselring to defend the country at all costs, a country, I might add, that had only just surrendered to the Allies. After months of planning, the first wave of attacks started in the toe of Italy on the 3rd of September under General Bernard Montgomery. The Germans, however, were not expecting an attack to the south and frankly didn't find it important, and the Allies who landed there were met with little to no resistance at all. With that said, however, the Germans were preparing for an invasion of the mainland and had dug themselves in at Salerno, a spot they figured would make perfect sense for the Allies to attack. And proving them right, on the 9th of September 1943, the American 5th Army under Commander Mark Clark did indeed attack the little town just south of Naples, and was absolute bloodshed from the get-go. Although the British army to the south had opened up another front in Italy, they would take a while to reach the Allies, and their progress was being slowed by increasing amounts of German resistance. The Yanks were on their own, for now anyway. After 2 weeks of vicious fighting on the beachfront of Italy, on the 9th of September, it was looking like the Allies had finally won their extremely important beachhead at Salerno. The Germans, however, had no plan to let the beachhead go so easily, and on the 12th of September, Kesselring's forces struck back with such a furious counterattack that Commander Mark Clark was about to call off the entire invasion and withdraw his troops entirely. The casualties were dire. Just as all hope seemed lost and the ocean was running red, because of over 2,000 Allied airstrikes and repeated bombardment by offshore navy ships, the desperate German counterattack was stemmed, and Albert Kesselring decided he simply didn't have enough Luftwaffe support to push the Allies back and send them fleeing, even though he was so close to doing it at one point. Although by some miracle, the 5th Army had just barely survived their landing at Salerno and established a foothold on the country, German resistance stayed stubborn all the way up until the end of the war in 1945. Richard Plunkett, an American sailor present on a US light cruiser as the invasion was taking place, stated in his diary that the 5th Army would have been pushed back to the ocean if it had not been for the Navy. And he was most definitely right, as it could be argued that the German defense in Italy was the most stubborn of the war, partly due to the fact military genius Erwin Rommel helped orchestrate the defense, even though his loyalties to Hitler had all but shriveled up by 1944. So guys, that was a taster of the first moments of the invasion on the Italian mainland at Salerno, and I don't think the word miracle was a hyperbole here at all, as from all historical reports, that beachhead was a nightmare to take and was defended by some of the Wehrmacht's most experienced soldiers, something every Allied soldier feared to face. To put it into perspective, the invasions at Normandy, although brutal, were not defended by the Wehrmacht's best due to ingenious British intelligence that diverted them mainly to the south of France. This allowed the Allied landing forces at the majority of beaches to gather a clean foothold before facing the best troops of the Germans, a luxury not afforded in the Italian campaign. So, as per usual guys, let me know if you want to hear more about the Italian campaign or even the North African campaign, as there are a ton of stories nestled into these battlefronts that are rarely told. And if you want to talk to other history buffs and check out the sources I use for many of my videos, make sure you check out our front Discord. And also, if you are enjoying the channel and want to support it, make sure you check out my Patreon. And as usual, I want to thank my current patrons, specifically my $50 one, I Married My Cat. You guys really help me improve the quality and quantity of videos, and I hope you've noticed the difference in the past videos. Anyways guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something new.